For this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used 5 skeins of Lion Brand's Feels Like Butter in the color Dusty Blue. As for tools, a 5 and a 7mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There's a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount. Watch to the end of the video to learn how to enter this week's giveaway. We're using 4 stitches for this project, and they will be as follows: chain, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. This tutorial is for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting started on this top, we are first going to grab our category 4 yarn, make a slip knot, grab our 5mm hook, and start off by doing some measuring. The first measurement that we're going to need to make is going to be from collarbone to collarbone, and I have already measured mine out. Mine is going to be a total of 8.5 inches or 23 centimeters, so that comes out to about 35 chains. And go ahead and grab your stitch markers because we're going to need to insert that into that last chain. Now that we have our chain, we are going to grab our stitch marker and then just insert that into that last chain that we made. Once when we have that, we're going to now measure from our collarbone down to where we want the bottom of our point to be for our collar. And mine is a total of 8 inches or 21 centimeters, so I'm going to start off by making a chain of 30. Now that we have that chain, we are going to do a chain out of 1 as an extra because that is going to be our point. We're going to grab our next stitch marker. This is a different color for me just so I know which one is the point, but yours can be the same, does not matter. Just make sure you guys know which one's which. And then once we have that, now we're going to measure just once more from the bottom of our collar all the way up to where our collarbone is. So it should be the same measurement that we just made. So I'm going to go ahead and make a chain of 30 or another 8 inches or 21 centimeters. And now that we have our very long chain, we are now going to slip stitch it into the first chain that we made, but we're first going to need to run our thumb along one side of our chain, making sure that it's not twisted in any way, so that's much easier for us to get into our next row. Once when we are sure that it's not twisted, we're going to insert our hook into that first chain that we made. We're going to yarn over and then pull through everything on our hook, and now it is all finished up. This is what we should have once when we have inserted our hook and did our slip stitch. And then from here, now we're just going to go across with a little single crochet border, maintaining some increases where our stitch markers are. And we don't have a stitch marker into this point, but go ahead and get it ready because we're about to insert it into here. So what we're going to do is we're going to first do single crochets going towards our stitch marker that is on the other side of our collarbone. So into this first chain that we have, we're first going to go in with an increase of 2 single crochets. So into that first chain, we're going to go in with 1 single crochet, and then into that same loop, go in with another single crochet. And then once we have that, we are going to grab our stitch marker and then insert it into that first single crochet that we made, or the single crochet that is closest to the bottom of our collar, just like that. And then from here, go ahead and just put 1 single crochet into every chain going all the way across until we hit our next stitch marker, and then I'll meet y'all back so that we can do our increase together. Now that we're at our next stitch marker, we're going to be going in with another increase of 2 single crochets because this is our other collarbone stitch marker. So we're going to take this out for now, don't put it too far, but into that loop, we're going to go in with an increase of 2 single crochets. So there's 1 single crochet, and then into that same loop, 2 single crochet. Once we have that, we're going to take our stitch marker and then insert it into the second single crochet that we just made, or the single crochet that's closest to the bottom of our collar. Go ahead and insert your hook into there. Then once we have that, go all the way down with single crochets until we hit our next stitch marker, and then I'll meet y'all back. And now that we've made our way down to our next stitch marker, which is the bottom of our collar, we're going to take the stitch marker out for now, and then go into that chain with an increase of 3 single crochets since this does need to maintain a point. So there is 1 single crochet, 2, and then 3. Once we have our 3, we're going to take our same stitch marker and then we're going to insert it into that middle single crochet, or the second one that we just did. And then from there, go ahead and just put single crochets going all the way back up our chain. Once we make our way back up, slip stitch into that first chain up that we did, and then I'll meet you guys back. But a quick tip, make sure that your collar isn't twisted in any way. Make sure it can lay down flat. So this is what we should have when we have finished doing our first row of our collar, and we're just going to be doing one more row, which is actually the exact same thing that we just did. So I'm just going to show you guys what we're going to do into this first increase, and then I'll let you guys do all the rest by yourself. So all this is going to be is we're going to start off by doing a chain up of 1, and then into this first loop that has our increase of 2 in it, because this is our collarbone stitch marker. We're going to take this guy out. And we're going to go in with an increase of 2 back loop single crochets. This next loop is all with back loops. So into this next loop, we're going to go in with 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochet, making sure that we went in through that back loop. As you guys can see, this is the front loop right here. There's our 2. And then from here, go into that next back loop with 1 into each back loop. Oh, and then remember to insert your stitch marker back into this first single crochet that we made, or the one that's closest to the bottom, just like that. And then from here, go ahead and put 1 back loop single crochet going all the way across. Once we hit this stitch marker, do an increase of 2, and then once you have that, insert your stitch marker into the second single crochet that you guys just made, or the one that's closest to the bottom, back loop single crochets, increase of 3 back loop single crochets, and then back loop single crochets all the way back up, slip stitch into this first loop, and then I'll meet you guys back. So we are back, and we are all finished up with our second row of back loop single crochets, and as y'all can tell, we did a chain up of 1 end cut because we are all done with our collar. And now we can actually set this off to the side for now because we can get started on the body portion. Getting started on this body portion, we're first going to grab our same category 4 yarn, make a slip knot, grab our 7mm hook, and start off by making a chain that goes from your underarm down to where you want the bottom of the top to be. I've already measured mine out, so I'm going to go ahead and make a chain of 13 inches or 33 centimeters, and that comes out to 38 chains. Now that we have our chain, what we're going to do from here is block off that last chain, do a chain up of 2. That counts as a half double crochet. From there, we're going to prepare for a half double crochet, and then into that loop that we blocked off, or the third loop from our hook, we're going to go in with 1 half double crochet. And from here, go ahead and just put 1 half double crochet into every chain that we have, going all the way back down, leaving the last chain because we're going to be doing an increase of 2 half double crochets into there. And now that we are back with our row of half double crochets, we're going to be doing an increase of 2 into this last one. So we're going to go in with 1 half double, and then into that last chain, go in with another half double. Once we have that, take a stitch marker and then insert it into that side because this is going to be the top portion of our top. So what we're going to do for this next row is do a chain up of 1 that counts as a single crochet, flip our work, and now we're just going to go in with back loop single crochets. But remember, like I said, we're going to maintain increases along the ends. So into this first back loop, go in with 1 single crochet, and then with 1 more back loop single crochet, making sure that both of them are in that first back loop. From here, put 1 back loop single crochet all the way down until we have just 1 back loop left, and then I'll meet y'all back so that we can do that side. So we've just made it all the way down with our back loop single crochets. We have just 1 back loop left to go into, and we're going to maintain doing our increase on this side. So we're going to go in with 1 back loop single crochet and then just 1 more into that last back loop. And then what we're going to do from here is do a chain up of 2 that counts as a half double crochet. Flip our work, prepare for a half double crochet, and then insert our hook into that first back loop that we have with an increase of 2 half double crochets. Remembering we're maintaining increases on both sides. Insert into that next back loop, and then from here put 1 back loop half double crochet going all the way down until we get to the last back loop that we have right here. Do an increase of 2 back loop half double crochets, do a chain up of 1, increase of 2 back loop single crochets, back loop single crochets all the way down until we have just 1 loop left, and then increase of 2 back loop single crochets. So we're basically just alternating between back loop half double and back loop single crochet rows while maintaining increases on both ends. And we're going to keep doing that until this side portion meets the front of our body. And then in the next clip, I'll let you guys know how many rows I went in with and the measurement that I have, and then also what we need to do next. And make sure when you guys end this, you end on the top. Alright, so we are back, and I now have my tiny little underarm portion, and just to let you guys know, The width that I have of this is 2 inches or 5 centimeters, and I have a total of 5 rows. And I did end along the top portion that I have right here, because from here we're just going to make a chain that shoots straight up to make our little shoulder chunk that we're going to have. So I have also already measured that out. I'm going to make a chain that comes out to a total of 4.5 inches or 12 centimeters, or that is a total of 14 chains. All you need to do is just make that chain, making sure that it can reach the tip of your shoulder. So go ahead and make that chain length. Now that we have gone in with our shoulder chunk chain, what we're going to do from here is just go in with a row of back loop single crochets. But since this is the top where our shoulder is going to be, we're going to keep this part blunt, but maintaining our back loop single crochets going all the way down until we reach this end. And we are going to still be doing increase of 2 into this back loop. So let's just start this off, and then I'll let you guys do the rest on your own. What we're going to do from here is do an extra chain up of 1 once when we have our chain, and then into that loop that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to go into that back loop with a single crochet. And that is it. We're just going to keep doing back loop single crochets all the way down, including into the body, maintaining this increase at the very end. Do a chain up of 2, and then do back loop half double crochets while still maintaining this increase going all the way down. So once we get to this last loop, just do a chain up of 1, flip your work, and then do back loop single crochets going all the way down. But we're just going to keep doing this until this portion is the size that we need, so that we can have a little shoulder chunk that reaches from the edge of our collar to our shoulder. And remembering, when you guys are done going in with your shoulder chunk, that you guys are going to want to end up here on this blunt portion, because from here we're going to insert it into our collar. So I'll meet you guys back just to show you guys how many rows I went in with, and also the length that I will have. So we are back, and I have my super duper tiny shoulder chunk right here. Yours can be much bigger, much smaller, whatever you guys need, but just to let you guys know, I just have 2 rows, and this came out to about 1 inch or 5 centimeters, and I did end at the top because now we can slip stitch it into this first stitch marker. So let's get that started. What we're going to do is insert our hook back into our working yarn. We did not cut and tie, but if you guys did, it's totally fine. Just reattach your work. And then into this first corner where our stitch marker is, we're going to take that guy out, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through everything. And then once when we have that, it is now all attached, and now we can start working into the collar portion. So how we're first going to start this off is by going in with a row of back loop single crochet, because our last row is a row of back loop half doubles. So how we're going to do that is first slip stitch into the next available loop that we have into the collar. So it is this one right here. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. Once when we have that, we're going to flip our body portion around and then go in with back loop single crochets, but into the first 2 back loops we're going to be doing a decrease of 2 single crochets. So into this first back loop we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through. Into this next back loop, insert, yarn over, pull through. We should have 3 loops on our hook. From here we're going to yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that is our decrease of 2. Once when we have that, we're going to go all the way down with back loop single crochets while maintaining our increase along the bottom. That's going to be a always thing for this front panel. Once we make it to the end, we're going to do a chain up of 2, maintain that increase of back loop half double crochets, make our way on back, and then leave the last 2 loops because we're going to have to do another decrease into those last 2 loops that's right next to the base. So we are back with our second row of our body portion that is now connected into the collar, and we went in with back loop half doubles, and we left our last 2 loops so that we can do a decrease of 2 back loop half double crochets connected into the collar, and then go in with the rest. So what we're going to do from here is prepare for a half double, go into that second to last back loop, insert, pull through, last back loop, insert, pull through. Once we have that, we should have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 4 loops, and then from here, when it comes to our half double crochet row, we're going to count up 2 loops into the base or into the collar. We're going to count up 1, 2, slip stitch into that second loop, and now this is all connected. And since we're here, we might as well just get started on the next row, but these rows are basically just going to be repeating themselves all the way down until you guys make your way down to this middle stitch marker right here. But once when we are here, we're ready to get started on our back loop single crochet row. So starting that one off, we're only going to be slip stitching up 1 loop. From there, we're going to flip our work and then into the first 2 back loops, we're going to go in with back loop, decrease of 2 single crochets just like that, and then do back loop single crochets going all the way down while maintaining the increase at the bottom like usual. Once we get to the end, do a chain up of 2, do an increase of 2 back loop half doubles, do back loop half doubles coming all the way back up, leaving the last 2 loops. We're going to do a decrease of 2 back loop half double crochets into the last 2 loops, and then slip stitch it into that second available loop into the base to close off that row. And then we're just going to be alternating between our back loop singles, back loop half doubles, while maintaining our decreases next to the base and increases at the ends, all the way down until we hit this stitch marker. So I'll meet you guys back once we have all of this done. So we have just finished up going in with one entire side of our front panel, and this is what it looks like. Just to let you guys know, from the beginning all the way to the end, I have a total of 28 rows, and this is also a total of 9 inches or 23 centimeters. And just to pull this up, just to remind you guys, we did maintain doing our increases along the bottom as well. And basically, I'm going to let you guys have at the next part because it is the same exact thing that we did here, just on the other side. So make the same amount of rows for our underarm portion, same amount of rows for our shoulder chunk, and then insert your hook right where this stitch marker is, and then continue to go down with decreases into the 2 loops that's right next to the base while maintaining the increase at the bottom that we have for the entire piece. So same exact guy. And then once you guys make it all the way down here, I will meet you guys back so that we can connect it and then we can get started on the back. So we are back and we have just finished going in with both of our front panels. And now that we have everything and it's all matched up, the next thing we're going to have to do is just seam up this middle portion that we have right here. And we're going to need to do 2 things right before we start going over the seam. The first thing is, once when we sandwich everything in closed together like this, we're going to want to make sure that our ribbed portion is facing each other for the collar that we made. So if you guys want to take a look at the collar portion, we did go in through the back loops, which is the second row that we went in with our single crochet collar. And then this, you want these 2 pieces to be facing each other. So now we're looking at the back piece. And then next we're going to want to figure out how long we want to go in with our seam. So this is all going to be dependent on you guys, but what I did was basically I just eyeballed where the bottom of this portion is, because this is where the bottom of the top is going to be, and I just kind of went straight across and then inserted my stitch markers. So just to let you guys know, that is a total of 25 loops from the bottom of our collar, or that comes out to about 8 inches or 21 centimeters. But once when we have that, we can now go in with our single crochet seam. So this is going to be fairly easy. What we're first going to do is insert our hook in through the first available loop into the front panel, and then into the next available loop we have into the back panel. We're going to insert our yarn if we did cut like I did. If you guys didn't, then go ahead and just continue on and pull through. From here, we're going to do a chain up of 1 to secure, and then we're going to insert our hook in through the next available front loop into the front panel, and then into the next available loop into the back panel, single crochet. Let's do this just one more time. Next available loop into the front panel, next available loop into the back panel, single crochet. And we're just going to keep going down all the way until we hit our stitch marker. Then once we hit that, go ahead and cut and tie, and then we can get started on the back piece. Alright, so we are back and we have just finished up seaming the entire front panel together, and now we're going to start working on the back panel, which is very similar to the front, so let's get that started right now. The first thing we're going to do, I'm going to let you guys get started on your own actually, is we're going to do the first 2 rows that we did for our front panel. So we're going to go in with our chain, same chain count, do a chain up of 2, do half double crochets going all the way back down, do an increase of 2 half double crochets once we get to the end, do a chain up of 1, do an increase of 2 back loop single crochets into that first loop, and then do single crochets, back loop single crochets, my bad, all the way down until we get all the way down here. It's basically going to be the same thing, but we will not be doing an increase along the bottom. So I'll meet you guys back at the end of this second row just to show you guys what we're going to do, and then from there I'll let you guys have at it. So we are back and we now have the beginning portion of our back piece. Let's actually flip it over. This is a little bit easier to see. But basically, this is what we should have so far. We have our first half double crochet row where we did an increase into that last loop, And then we also have our increase of 2 back loop single crochets, and then did back loop single crochets going all the way down. And then once when we make it down to the bottom right here, we will not be doing an increase because we need this to remain blunt because this is the back portion. So just into that back loop, that last one. In the second row, we're going to do 1 back loop single crochet, do a chain up of 2, flip your work, prepare for a back loop half double. We're still alternating between back loop half doubles and back loop singles. And then just go into that first back loop with just 1 back loop half double. And then from there, put 1 back loop half double into every loop. So the top half is going to be the same, but the bottom half is going to remain blunt like this, which is a little bit easier. So we're going to keep going until we have the same amount of rows that we have for our underarm portion. And then we're also going to do the same amount of rows that we have for our shoulder chunk as well, all while maintaining the blunt portion along the bottom. So I'll meet you guys back once when I have all of this figured out, and then I'll show you guys how to reattach it into the collar so that we can get started on the back piece, and then we can move on from there. Okay, so we are back with the first portion of our back piece, which is our underarm, and then our shoulder chunk, which is almost the same as our front piece. We just left the bottom portion nice and blunt. But once when we have this, we're just going to connect it into the back of the neck piece together, and then from there I'll let you guys go from there because it is super duper simple. So we are going to first insert our hook into the next available loop that we have into this neck portion that we have. So into any one of the sides, it doesn't matter which one, we're just going to insert our hook into that next available loop right here. Insert, yarn over, pull through everything. And then just as a really quick refresher, what we're going to do from here is slip stitch into that next available loop, because the next row that we're going to do is going to be a row of back loop single crochets. And from here we're going to be working into the length of the back portion now with back loop single crochets. So go ahead and just put 1 back loop single crochet into every back loop that we have, and we're not going to be doing a decrease or increase on this side, so it's much easier than the first. Once we make it down to the end, do a chain up of 2, flip your work, and then do back loop half double crochets coming back down. Once when you guys hit the collar, just like the front, we're going to skip the first available loop and then slip stitch into that second available loop so that we can close off that row. And then in order to work our way up to the next row, we're going to slip stitch up the next and then work our way back down with back loop single crochets. And we're going to keep doing that all the way down until we hit our middle stitch marker that we will be inserting right now, because we're going to be doing this in 2 pieces. Because if we do it all in one, or if we try to do it all in one, we will have to cut and tie for this little underarm portion. So this eliminates just an extra step. So go ahead and keep doing this until you guys hit your middle piece and then cut and tie. And then I'll meet you guys back just to remind you guys what to do, but it's basically the same thing, working our way back, and then we're going to seam up the back just like how we did the front. So I'll meet you guys back once when we are done with this side. We have just finished up going in with 1/2 of our back panel, and I'm here just to remind you guys that we are going to be doing one more, inserting our underarm portion and our shoulder chunk into this next available loop, and then doing our work all the way down until we get to this other middle loop, and then I'll meet you back so that we can seam all of this up. We are now all finished up with both of our back panels. They should lay nicely on top of each other, but once when we have this, we are ready to connect it, and connecting it is the same way that we seamed up the front, so I'm just going to vaguely talk you guys through it. The first thing we're going to want to make sure is just make sure that the collar is flipped inside out so that all of our seams are facing the same side. And then from there, we're just going to insert our hook into the first available loop into the front panel, next available loop into the back panel, and then single crochet. And then do that going all the way down. Once we make it all the way down to the end, go ahead and do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then we can seam up the sides and the shoulder chunks as well. So we've just finished up seaming up the back, and now we're going to seam up this side panel that we have right here, and it's going to be exactly the same way, so I'm just going to talk you guys through it. I just want to make sure that all of our seams are facing the same direction, so just make sure that our work is still flipped wrong side out. But once when we get here, we're just going to insert our hook in through the first available corner into this panel, and then corner into the back panel as well. Insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, and then we're just going to single crochet, making sure we're going in through the front and the back panel at the same time, going all the way down. Once we make it to the end, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then we'll meet each other back so that we can do the shoulders. We have just finished up going in with our side seam, and now we're going to do the same exact thing for this tiny little shoulder chunk that we have right here. The only difference is that we're not going to have any real loops for us to go into. We're just going to have a bunch of side half double and side single crochets. We're just going to have to eyeball it, but try to make sure that you're going into the same loop into the front panel as you are through the back panel. So just to show you guys, into the first available loop that I have into the front panel, insert my hook. Into the next available loop that I have into my back panel, insert my hook, insert my yarn onto my hook, pull through, do a chain up of 1 to secure, and same deal, make sure that we're going through the same loop that we have in the first panel that we have through the back panel, and then single crochet, and then keep doing this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then do the same side seam and shoulder chunk seam on the other side. So we have just finished up going in with both of our side seams, and now we can go in with our sleeve. So the first thing that we're going to do is go in with a row of single crochet along the entirety of the bottom. So we're just going to insert our hook into any one of these loops, insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, do a chain up of 1 to secure, and then from here just put 1 single crochet into every somewhat loop that we have all the way around, up and around, and then same deal over here. Once we reach this last loop, slip stitch into this first single crochet that we just made. So we have just made it all the way around with our row of single crochet, and we have slip stitched into that first single crochet. And from here, we're going to want to try this on and figure out how long we want the length of our sleeve to be. I have already figured mine out, so mine is going to be a total of 22.5 inches or 57 centimeters. So that's going to come out to 60 chains. So once we get that number, we're just going to start making a chain of that chain count. And now that we have our chain count, the next thing we're going to want to do before we actually get started with the sleeve is figure out where we want to start doing our, what we're going to call extending for our bell sleeve that we're going to have. It's going to be really subtle, but it's going to look really cute, I promise. So the place where I inserted my stitch marker was actually just about 24 loops in, or that is about 14 inches or 36 centimeters from the base right here. So from here to here. But now that we have our stitch marker into our work, what we're going to do from here is insert our hook back in, do a chain up of 3. This counts as a double crochet. Prepare for a double crochet, and then into that loop that we blocked off, or the 4th loop from our hook, go in with a double crochet. And then from here, just put 1 double crochet into every chain that we have until we hit our stitch marker, and then I'll meet you guys back. Now that we've done our double crochets going all the way down, now for the rest of this chain, we're just going to go in with our half double crochets, but leaving that last loop once we get to the base, because we're going to be doing an increase of 2 half doubles. So let's just do this first one together. We're going to prepare for a half double. Into the loop that we have right after our stitch marker, we're going to go in with just 1 half double. And from here, just put 1 half double going all the way down. I'll meet you guys back at the end of this row. Now that we've done our half doubles all the way down our chain, we left that last loop, so let's do that increase of 2 together. We're going to prepare for a half double crochet. Go into that last loop with just 1 half double, and we got 1 more into that same loop. And that is our increase. And then from here, what we're going to do is count up the next 2 loops. Count 1, count 2, slip stitch into that second to close off this first row. Once we have that, we are going to work our way up to the next row by slip stitching up just that next loop. We're going to flip our work, and now this is going to be a row of back loop single crochets. So let's do that together as well. So into this first available loop, we're going to go in with 1 single crochet and 2, because we're always going to be doing an increase of 2 into the loop that's right next to the base. And then from here, we're just going to go all the way down with back loop single crochets, including on top of our double crochets that we made. Once we make our way to the end, I'll meet you guys back because we're going to be doing our extender again. We're actually going to be doing it for every half double crochet row. So we're always going to be starting off with double crochets. So I'll meet you guys back at the end of this row just as a refresher. Once we made our way down with our row of single crochet, what we're going to do from here is do a chain up of 3 that counts as a double, flip our work, prepare for a double crochet, and then put 1 double crochet into every loop that we have until we hit our stitch marker, just like how we did for the first row, and then switch it out for half doubles. Once we get our way down to the base, we're going to do an increase of 2 back loop half double crochets into that last loop, slip stitch into the base to close off that row, and then work our way back down with back loop single crochets. And let me just show you guys what the other sleeve looks like so we can talk about what we're actually going to do, because we're going to do another extender row into our single crochet rows too. So taking a look at my other sleeve that is actually all finished up, we are actually right about here where we just left off, because we have our double crochet to half double, back loop single, and then we started off our double crochet, and then we're going to switch out to half double, back loop singles, back loop doubles to back loop half doubles. And then at this point, the one that I just explained, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. Once we get to the 6th row, into our 6th row, which should be a single crochet row, we're going to switch out from doing our singles to half doubles, just like how we did with the doubles. So I'll meet you guys back once we get to our 6th row, or into whatever single crochet row that you guys want to extend just a little bit more, and then I'll show you guys how to do that as well. But just remember, every half double crochet row, we're going to start off with double crochets, and then everything is going into the back loops. So I'll meet you guys back once we are ready to extend our single crochet row. So we are back with our 6th row, and what we're going to do from here is, since we came all the way back with our single crochet row, and we actually ended right where our double crochet and our half double crochet meet, we're just going to take that same number count and then start doing back loop half doubles. So how this is going to work is just prepare for a half double, go into that next back loop with a half double, and then that's about it. Once we make it to the end, we're going to do a chain up of 3, flip our work, do back loop double crochets until we hit that same point where our stitch marker is at, do half doubles. Connect it into the base while maintaining that increase of 2 into the last loop right before our base, and then we're going to work our way back with regular back loop single crochets, because we're only going to be doing our extender, which is our half double crochet ending row, into every 6th row. So into every 3rd single crochet row, we're going to do our little extender, and we're actually just going to keep doing that until we hit our shoulder seam up here. And then once we do that, we're basically going to keep the same stitches that we're doing, but instead of doing an increase at the end, we're going to go down with decreases. But I'll meet you guys back so that we can do that together. So we are back, and we now have just about half of our sleeve all finished up. And I've actually gone in with the first row of the other side of our sleeve, if that makes sense, because once when we have reached our shoulder seam, which is right about here, this is the last row that I did, our next row that we're going to do right before we start doing a decrease, we're going to have a little dividing row of nothing right here. So there's no increase, no decrease right here, just so that once when we have this little rollover onto our decrease side, we'll end up starting with the same amount of rows that we had on the last increase side, if that makes any sense. But once when we make it over here, we have our next row of our non-increase or decrease row, and then we can now attach it and then start doing our decreases together. So I've made my way back, so I'm just going to attach it real quick. And now that it's attached, what we're going to do from here is start by doing our decreases. So we're going to slip stitch into that next available row, flip our work, and then into these first 2 front loops. And then into these first 2 back loops, we're going to go in with a decrease of 2 single crochets since we're working our way down. So we inserted our hook. Well, let's do that again a little bit more slowly. Let's insert into that first back loop, yarn over, pull through. Next back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And then from here, same game plan, just do back loop single crochets going all the way down. And then if this is your 3rd single crochet row, go ahead and do your extender, which I did mine in the previous row right here. But go ahead and just do that, work your way back down with your back loop doubles to back loop half doubles, and then I'll meet you guys back once we have just 2 loops left so that I can show you guys how to do a decrease, and then we can move on from there. And we have made it all the way down with our back loop double and back loop half double crochet row, leaving our last 2 loops right here. And then once when we reach this, what we're going to do is do a little decrease together. So we're going to prepare for a half double, insert into that second to last loop, pull through into that last back loop, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And then from here, we're just going to count up the next 1, 2 loops, slip stitch into that second to close off this row. And then just to work our way up to the next row, slip stitch into that next available loop, flip our work, and then let's do a decrease of 2 single crochets together really quickly. Into this first back loop, insert, pull through, next back loop, insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3, and then do your back loop single crochets going all the way down, maintaining our pattern that we have, which is our back loop single crochets, unless if you guys are doing your back loop single crochets to back loop half doubles. This is all up to your pattern and how many loops you guys have, but just maintain all of this that we have right here and then work your way all the way down until we don't have any more loops left to go into, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can seam up our sleeve together. So we've just made our way all the way around with our sleeve, and we don't have any more loops left to go into this sleeve slit that we have. So now we're just going to seam it all up. The only tip that I have for you guys right before we get started is just make sure that our sleeve is flipped inside out so that all of our seams are facing the same direction. But once when we have that, it's going to be the same way that we have seamed up everything else so far. So we're just going to do the first one together. We're first going to insert our hook into the first available loop into the front panel, and then into the next available loop into the back panel. And once we have that, we are going to single crochet it closed. And that is it. Go ahead and keep doing this all the way down until we don't have any more loops left. Once we get to the end, do a chain up of 1 and cut. And then once we have this sleeve done, do the same exact thing that we did here along the other side. So I've just finished up going in with both of our sleeves, and now we're going to work on our little back border that we're going to have. So the first thing we're going to have to do is go in with a row of single crochet that goes all the way across. So picking one of the sides, does not matter which one, I do like to insert my hook into where the last seam loop is from the inside, just to make sure that our single crochet stays right over here. From here we're going to insert our hook and pull through. And then for this single crochet row, we're going to go in alternating between our half double crochet rows. So what I mean by that is into this first half double crochet, we're going to go in with 2 single crochet. Where this side single crochet row is, we're always going to be putting 1 single crochet into there, but into the next side half double, we're going to go in with 1 single crochet. So let's do that together. Into this first side half double, we're going to go in with 1 and 2. Into this side single, we're going to go in with 1. Now we're at our second side half double, we're just going to go in with 1. And we're just going to keep alternating like that, going all the way down, and we're going to slip stitch into this last loop that we have into the seam on this side, and then I'll meet you guys back. So we've just gone all the way across with our row of single crochet from our seam to our other seam, and now we're just going to go in with our bottom border. And go ahead and just measure out how long you guys want your bottom border to be. I want mine to be a total of 5 inches or 13 centimeters. And that comes out to about 12 chains. So I've just gone in with my chain of 12, and then what we're going to do from here is block off that last chain, do a chain up of 2 that's going to count as a half double crochet, prepare for a half double crochet, and then go into that loop that we blocked off, or the third loop from our hook, with a half double. And from here, just go all the way down, putting 1 half double into every chain that we have, and I'll meet you guys back so that we can connect it into the base. So we've just gone all the way down with our first row of half double crochets, and now we're going to slip stitch it into the base, which is going to be the same way that we've done it every other time. So really quickly, we're going to count up the next 2 available loops. Here's 1, here's 2. Slip stitch into that second loop to close off this row. And from here, we're going to slip stitch up just 1 loop, flip our work, and now we're going to be going in with back loop slip stitches. So into this first back loop, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through everything. Go ahead and keep doing this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, do a chain up of 2, and then I'll meet you guys back. So now that we're at the end of our back loop slip stitch rows, what we're going to do is just do a chain up of 2, flip our work, prepare for a half double crochet, and then insert our hook into that next back loop with a back loop half double crochet. And then go ahead and keep doing back loop half double crochets, going all the way down, slip stitching into the base the same way that we've been going into, and then do a slip stitch into that next available loop into the base, flip your work, and then do back loop slip stitches. And we're going to keep doing that for the entirety of our back portion that we have. Once we get to the end, we're going to do a chain up of 1 and cut. So we have just finished up going in with our bottom back border, and the last thing that we have to do is just go in with the little cross detail along the front. So we're going to grab our 5mm hook, and as you guys can see, I already have one done, so we're going to do the other one together. Into this bottom loop, I measured out about 1 inch, and that is right about here. We're going to insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, and then we're going to take a measurement from here up to where we want the cross to start. So I want mine to be just about 3 inches up. So I'm going to make a chain of 2.5 inches. And once when I have that, I'm going to insert my hook into the spot where I want this cross to be at, which is across on the other side of our collar. From here, we're going to yarn over, pull through everything, do a chain up of 1 to secure, and then cut and do the same thing on the other side. And once when we have this all done, we have nothing else to do, so go ahead and just weave in all of your ends. We've woven in our ends, and this is our front tie v-neck all done, and it's looking pretty great. There's a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount. Enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us where you're from and what's your favorite thing about it. Good luck to everyone who enters. Also, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Believe it or not, it actually helps. Be sure to share us on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Reddit, and Facebook. Links down below. Link to our Etsy page is down there too if you want to buy this piece or any other piece on the channel. Be sure to favorite the shop so you don't miss out on new patterns and exclusive deals. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one.